So proud of our special little guy. Oh, shit.
So proud, and we are live. We are so proud of our special little guy today. It is
We're starting so strong.
I am your host for this fine evening, Adrian M. Gibson, author of Mushroom Blues and co-host of SFF Addicts podcast. And I'm just going to go around and introduce everyone, and we'll end off with our man of the hour, our special little guy. But first up is Krystle Matar. How are you, Krystle?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing
It's
great.
been so long since we chatted.
Like, I think probably like 18 hours. Yeah. No, like 24
About
hours.
22 hours.
Yeah. Not too long. Tell us about yourself. Who are you?
I write stuff and stuff. So I wrote. Oh, hang on. I got to wiggle.
You didn't prepare. She wrote
sort
some
of
Not ready.
They're behind me. I just forgot how hard it is to move my chair. That's it.
Well, Krystle's doing that. Congratulations. You're already overbooked.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
So I wrote these beasts, Legacy of the Brightwash and Legacy of Brick and Bone, which are gas lamp dystopian that kind of start off with a murder mystery, but like dive real fast into the political machinations of the rich and cruel. And the special edition is coming soon.
Yeah.
They're really pretty.
Some beautiful dust jacket by Jeff Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so pretty.
Foil.
It's so
I need you to send me a copy
never...
of that.
Yeah, I'll have. Yeah, that's what I do. I also write reviews and articles for Grimdark Magazine, and that's mostly what I use my time for now.
And your mom too.
That too, but that's not
a lot of time.
I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid for reviews either, but I get books out of it.
There you go. All right. Also with us is Devin, the wonderful BroMantasy. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing great. Do you want to tell everyone about yourself?
Yeah, so I do content now, I guess. That's my main thing. I used to write really long form reviews, but now it's mostly content, which just kind of focuses on like crossover taste making, moving readers between genres that they wouldn't pick up on their own. And a lot of the time I've been able to get people to come in for romantasy and pivot over to grimdark or vice versa, from space operas, lit RPGs and things like that. So it's a lot of the time I've found that readers, it's not really a genre taste issue, it's more of an expectation issue.
I love it. Honestly, that's a really cool thing to kind of get that cross-pollination going, because I think a lot of people get hung up on, I love this genre and this is my thing, and it's going to take a lot of convincing for me to go elsewhere.
I still suffer from it, admittedly.
You're trying.
I do. Every time I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm going to enjoy this, I usually have a great time. So I almost don't want to lose the attitude because I feel like I'm not going to find good books.
Which is very much proof of concept that the expectations are kind of like such a big part of the experience, because I've had a few books where it's like I've heard really great things about it and I'm really hyped going in, and then I read it and I'm like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. That was a really weird choice with marketing or something along those lines. So
no.
Yeah, well, you're doing the good work that we all need, Devin.
Oh, thanks.
Also with us is Jennifer. How are you, Jennifer? Editor of Crownfall and Michael's wife. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I don't know. Do I do an intro, or is that everything people needs to know about me?
No.
Introduce yourself.
We're much more than that.
Yeah, my name is Jennifer Trippett. I go by Jenn. I am, as you can see, Michael's wife, and I helped with the editing of Crownfall, and it was a journey, but I am really excited to be here, and I am so proud of my husband Michael. I think the book is incredible. I know I'm biased, but like I really genuinely think that like in the end he made a really like interesting, engaging, satisfying book. It has made me cry multiple times. It makes me laugh, it makes me smile at all the right points, and I hope lots of people get a chance to enjoy this book.
Aw. Getting so sentimental right off the bat. Beautiful.
Sorry, too soon? Too soon?
No, never too soon. Never too soon. We got lots more congratulations coming in. Andrew Meredith, Noble Bright Knight.
Appreciate it, Andrew.
Yeah. Brood Books. Ryan Skeffington as well is here.
Hey, man.
And apparently Jen is the reason you're funny, Mike.
Oh, he's 100% right. Like,
Yeah.
he's not
I
wrong at
buy
all.
it. Checked out.
She is the noble to your dark. Well, man of the hour, Michael Vadney. How are you, my friend?
I'm really good. I've had this big shit-eating grin on my face pretty much all
As
day.
you should. As you
My
you
cheeks
should.
are very tired, but we're gonna keep going with it.
I mean, you're always smiley, at least on camera.
Yeah.
I try to be a positive dude. Like I work really hard at it, and it's just really good for my mental health to kind of just keep a good attitude about things.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't always like that, and I had to work really hard at it. And I'm glad to be here.
Oh, I'm glad too, man. And you put in a lot of hard work, and now you got your debut novel out into the world, Crownfall. Hold it up for everyone to see.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
The hardcover. It's
the
so
hardest
beautiful.
cover. It's chunky.
Dude.
It's beautiful.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I love it. Like especially with
I love
the
Kendall.
naked.
Yeah.
Big fan.
But how are you
Yeah,
feeling
the
today,
art.
man? How's it going? Because like I don't know, like Krystle and I have been through that debut experience, and it is like
It's surreal.
it's surreal. It's a roller coaster. It's a
Yeah.
good time. It's like
It's-
it messes with your head, but like, how are you feeling?
You spend an
it's absolutely
uncomfortable
wild.
amount of time checking your sales dashboard. Ooh,
I
gotcha.
don't want to admit to how often I've checked how like pre-orders coming in and stuff like that. I know like the exact count of how many have come in since this whole thing has started because I check it way too often. I've read every single review that has come in for the book so far, and
Wait,
honestly, I love reading
appointed
reviews.
you haven't appointed a Goodreads guardian yet. You're just going.
it's
you're
all
just going
me.
for it.
I'm going in raw.
You are strong-willed, sir.
He wants the good and the bad.
Yeah, it's kind of. I was actually Jen and I were talking about this earlier at dinner this evening. So Jen is my wife. She is also my editor. But when she is my editor first and does not care about my feelings.
Good.
And I
That's
really
the way.
appreciate that. Yeah, because it means like all of the things that really came out of like, hey, you can do better here, or this is really cliche, or like, we can do something a little more awesome. I've heard it all already. I'm not worried about it. If there's something bad about the book, there might be something bad about the book.
Yep.
This is my first one that I've ever written, and I learned a lot doing it, and I made
Yeah.
a damn good book in my opinion. But
Oh, dude,
it's
I
not
read.
going to be
I
for
read
everybody.
like I don't even know which iteration that I read, but
Ooh, that was an early draft. Yeah.
yeah,
like
but
4 or
even
5.
even then, like I could see how strong it was, and
I appreciate that, man.
I think I'm gonna do a reread of it when I get a physical copy.
Yeah, get
when
that
we see each
polished.
other this winter. And
Yeah,
just
I'm
kind of
very
like,
excited for that.
yeah, like reread it through fresh eyes, and it's gonna be really
Ah.
cool to see. Because honestly, like from my perspective, man, you did so much right as far as debuts go,
Mhm.
like indie debuts.
Thank you.
Like
Dude, a lot of that has just come from, honestly, a lot from just knowing you and talking to you about it and talking to Krystle and just other authors in the community and just being like, hey, how do you do this? What worked for you? And just trying my best at it. Nothing I'm doing here is original for like the tour and the release and everything. I'm literally looking at everybody else going like, that looks cool. Let
Yeah.
me try it too.
I mean, that willingness to learn is definitely what lets you step into really good opportunities. So that is the right,
Yeah.
The right way to
Appreciate it.
go.
yeah, I mean, publishing is an industry where you learn from other people's mistakes and
Mhm.
try not to repeat those mistakes, kind of thing. And it's like,
Or at least
especially
shield yourself for like the fallout of knowing you're gonna make some mistakes and just like
Yeah.
having some armor
Yeah.
on so that you can take some hits.
Yeah. And I'm not going to pretend like it's all been like sunshine and rainbows this whole time. I've talked with a few of you about this before. Like there was definitely a moment where I had finished the book and it was done editing and there was nothing left for me to do for actually creating the story. And I kind of just had this like little fall of depression where I was just like,
Yeah.
do I want to keep doing this? Is this the thing that I want to keep chasing? And I really thought about it for like a good week and a half to 2 weeks about, is this something that I really want to do? Because I've built up the idea of writing a book in my head and romanticized it for years, like a lot of people do. But in the end, I realized I loved writing it. I loved creating the story. So no matter what happens after that, I'm still very happy with what has occurred.
Dude, we talked like last week, and I went through like a similar slump with A Murder Most Fungal, which is my upcoming book. And it was like, handed that off, you know, to my editor, and just kind of like went into this zone of like, oh fuck, man, like what is life?
This is exhausting.
What am I doing? But it's kind of like the weird ebbs and flows that you get as an author, because it is kind of like, I mean, from the perspective of people who have day jobs, being an author is like the most inconsistent thing you could ever transition into doing, like from an emotional level, from a mental sort of like investment level, to risk versus reward, to how much time you put in versus like what you get back. It's just like all over the place, dude.
It's huge. Like it's such an emotional roller coaster, no matter which way you look at it. Hey Stuart.
We got lots. We got Paul in the chat showing some love.
Oh, nice. Bruce made it too.
We got Bruce as well. He's upset that the lamp scene didn't make it in.
So Bruce is, I've talked about this group a lot over the tour. He was part of the original writing group that I wrote the first, I think 3 or 4 drafts of Crownfall with. So he got like alpha reads.
Oh wow!
And he once pitched me on
Those
a
are some
lamp
dark
scene
secrets.
idea. Yeah, he knows things that nobody knows about Crownfall.
That's such an ominous thing to say. He knows the dirty little secrets about my book.
He does.
Love
he knows
you too,
where
Paul.
it started.
He knows where it started. Yeah, but I mean, tell us a little bit about what the journey of creating this book was like, because it's like, this has been years in the making. We've talked off air about this kind of stuff, but just so people out there are aware of like how much you put into this, and the fact that it's kind of like, I mean, like what I was talking about earlier, like the risk versus reward thing, years of investment and time versus like, you have no idea how it's going to go once you actually put that book out into the world.
Yeah, it's definitely been wild. All of this really started with Crownfall when I was like approaching my 30s. Like most people who eventually get into writing, I've romanticized the idea of being an author and writing a story for my entire life. But when I was getting close to 30 was when I really started thinking about it. And Jenn actually said, hey, you've talked about this for years. There's this writing group. Go check it out.
Oh, awesome.
At that point, I'd only written like 1 or 2 chapters of Crownfall. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do it. Sorry, I just saw Ryan in the chat and made me giggle up.
I wonder how many people know how old you actually are.
He looks
I'm
fucking
very
good
honest.
for his age. Yeah.
I appreciate it, folks. I am 35. It's all right.
Don't believe it. Sorry.
But yeah.
Your birthday is next
Sweet
month.
little baby angel.
Sweet
I'm
little
close
baby angel.
enough. I'm rounding.
Krystle, I love, it's like you are coddling the hell out of Michael today. Sweet baby angel.
Can't help it.
He needs some coddling. His wife is mean to him.
Good.
Jenn's on fire today.
I just get a little both from both sides.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jenn encouraged me to go check out this writing group, Writers Anonymous in Dallas, Texas, United States. And when I went there for the very first session, only one other person showed up because it was the second time he had ever started the group. And some people had met him for the first meeting, but he was the only one that showed up for the second meeting, Miguel, who was running the group. And he just sat down with me and talked to me about my story. And it was the first time that I had ever talked to anyone about the story besides just Jenn in our house. And
she
I
was just
so
tired
nervous. He's like, get out, please get into the world and just express this to someone else that's not me.
Give someone else your
Jenn,
creative
Jenn has
baggage.
been wildly supportive during this whole thing.
I just want him to become wildly successful so that I don't have to work anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that is,
girl.
that's it right there. Yeah. We got some more people. Sorry, just real quick.
no,
in the
do your
chat.
thing.
Hamster, I
Hamster.
got the book first.
Oh, hey,
Be jealous,
Hamster.
everyone. We got a
I have
newbie
a
here. We got
picture of him with the
Victor
book.
DiGiovanni. Never heard of you before, but saw the live stream in here. Thanks for coming
You're
in.
welcome.
Show me what
Oh,
you got.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, continue, buddy.
I got this.
I
This is
got
what I
it.
got.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kept going to the writing group. We eventually formed about 5 or 6 core members, and a lot of Crownfall was developed there, where I really cut my teeth on the craft, on how to give and receive feedback honestly to my face when things weren't working well for people, or when it was working well. And just between that and Jen being very honest with me, like, yes, I am a very emotional person, but I also have a very realistic view of my book. I wrote a damn good book, but it's not going to be for everybody. And there's not going to be things in it that everybody enjoys. But there is a lot in here that a lot of people will find entertainment. They'll find emotional journeys and hopefully learn something about life along the way.
There's a lot for you to be proud of in the
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I think that's something everyone has to go through, is like putting your book out there and realizing. I mean, Devin, what you were saying earlier about like not everyone's into every genre. No book is going to be able to cater to every single person. But you know, the hope is that you put a book out there and it finds its core readership, and it finds the people who love it and champion it. And hopefully that kind of snowballs the word of mouth effect going forward, especially in indie, right?
Yeah, word of mouth in indie is, I mean, you all know it is everything. It is, and it's become such a thing now where it's been really interesting to watch from the outside. So like, I pay closer attention now than I used to, but you can start to see the writing on the wall of indie books that are going to get picked up trad if they want to go that route. It's also become a thing where I see a lot of people post Kindle Unlimited reads or sales numbers and that kind of stuff, like with weekly updates. And I don't know, it seems to get an interesting amount of word of mouth in readers when you start to post that, because that fear of missing out on the next big thing, or like getting to it early, becomes very real for readers when they start to see somebody post, oh, you know, I had 4 million Kindle Unlimited pages read in the last 3 weeks or something like that. Everybody's like, oh my God, what am I missing? I do know, I can't speak for the author community, but I know it's viewed a little differently on the other side. But I will say
it's mixed reviews.
Very mixed.
From the reader side, I think it's an incredibly smart tactic, because publishers, if that's your goal, are all over socials. They are looking at influencers' pages. They are looking at authors' pages. Editors are always looking to snag something early, because obviously most people, unfortunately, don't know the shark game of publishing. And if you can lock a deal on a big book early and for not a huge pocket debt, or, you know, huge payday, it's going to go well. So word of mouth, all that to say, to answer Adrian's question and bring it back, is that word of mouth is huge. And I think getting that buzz out there is so important if you want eyes on your book. And like you said, it's not going to land for everybody, but
it's a very interesting time to be an indie. Just with wait 1 sec, just the man is no longer an adjacent author.
That's true. You're gonna have to
I've heard this many times during the past few months, and I still consider myself author adjacent. I am definitely an author. I feel it like in my heart that I am an author, and I've actually felt it more than before today. Like when it started going out to people for like ARC readers, and I did like the cover reveal and stuff like that, and people were seeing it in the real world. I feel like that's really when I started to feel like I was an author, but I still consider myself author adjacent. And I think most indie authors, or even traditional authors, are author adjacent, because yes, you are an author, but you're also a marketer, you're a salesman, you're a graphic designer, you're a logistics manager. You do all of these things.
Dude, even in my head, I'm kind of like, author is me as the person who's selling you a book, writer is me as the person who's creating that book.
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction.
So it's kind of like
there's even
because like author in my mind is like the personality whose name is on the cover of that book. But me as the creator and everything that goes into the creation of that book, all the days where I'm only able to get like 5, 10, 15 minutes in here or there, or maybe like a 3-hour session or something like that, or it's like I'm busy with my boys and trying to navigate all of this. That's the writer. And then the author is the person who's like, all right, professional hat on, let me sell you the hell out of this book.
The business sense of everything that you have to do.
Yeah, that's a good distinction.
That's like me, the entrepreneur kind of thing.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah. I've brought that up also a lot in a lot of these interviews. Is I think something that a lot of indie authors really need to think about is you are also an entrepreneur. You own a business. Your product is your book. And yes, it is an art. It is an expression of your soul and your emotions and who you are at the time that you wrote it. But it is also a product and a business. And it really helps you to think about it that way.
And an MSRP. Yeah, it's a product.
It's a product, yeah. That's the.
So you really got to think about that when you're making your cover and you're titling your book and things like that.
It's like the project to product pipeline is what I've come to call it. But I think Victor, I really like Victor's question. It kind of builds on what Devin was saying. Like, what's your metric for success? I mean, because some people might be like, I want to go indie in order to get a trad pickup. Or, you know, they might say like, my dream is to just sell like 100 copies of my book. Like my personal metric of success is like however much I invest in this book, I want to recoup that. And that's kind of like my baseline metric for success of any book is like, I invested X amount, I would like to recoup that. And then everything else I earn on top of that is then reinvested into the next project.
Yeah, that would definitely be amazing. At this stage, so for me, a metric of success is always like a moving goalpost where it's like at the very first time it was, can I finish a book? And turns out I can. And then it was, can I publish a book? Yeah, surprise, I'm here. It was then like, can I publish the book? And now we're here, we're doing that. So I would very much say like the next metric of success for am I successfully being an author is, can I recoup the costs that I've put into this, about the amount of money for like paying for the art and for like everything that I do with author adjacent and stuff like that. I would love to be able to do that. That being said, just creating the stories is what I love. That is the goal, is to be able to write good stories that people enjoy and to keep doing that. If I no longer have any financial success beyond doing that, I'm probably still going to keep doing this. Like my plan is to keep writing books until one of two things happen. Either I succeed and great, I get to keep doing it and that's my reward, or I die and it doesn't matter.
Belts.
I like
it's
this.
A very positive attitude.
565 hours of editing, charges at $56 an hour, carry the 1 million break even.
No sweat.
Yeah, no sweat, Ryan. No sweat. No sweat.
Is that what I should be charging?
There you go.
There you go.
I did look out.
I mean, sprayed edges. That is.
You can make that happen.
Yeah, you can do that
make
yourself.
That happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I can take this out back with some spray paint and covered in cardboard.
Some janky ass sprayed. There's like you don't even put tape on it or anything.
Ben Galley did that on his first.
He said it was a terrible experience.
It was the whole. Yeah, he said he would never do it again. He doesn't recommend it to anybody, but he did it for his first Kickstarter. Yeah. So you know.
I mean, he got a paint gun.
Airbrush.
Yeah, like the airbrush gun. He got like the clamp, and he basically like he did every single copy.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
every
single.
How many copies was that?
300, I think, or 500. Like it wasn't. It was pretty small because it was his first Kickstarter, and it was like just at the beginning of that wave of like Kickstarter special edition.
Never done that before. That's wild.
And like he lives in a condo, so like there was no space for this to be happening. He said he was coughing up red paint for a little while. Like it was a lot. He'd never do it again. He didn't recommend it, but if you want
that one Kickstarter may have taken like a year off his life.
Yeah.
all things
Well, but he
considered.
kept doing them, so he must be doing okay with them.
No, I mean the pain specifically, nothing
Oh, the
else. Like,
pain.
not the
The
stress.
fumes.
The fumes,
Fair,
Krystle,
fair,
the
fair.
fumes.
If he gets cancer, we all
Oh my
know
God.
why.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jeez.
I'm just saying.
The dark to Michael's
Jen-
light. I think you had that backwards before. when you
Yeah,
Yeah,
were
yeah.
gross.
Mike is the noble. Jen is the dark.
That might be true.
no, this is great because I don't get to show off Jen's humor very much in the public spotlight, but she slays me all the time.
I'm excited to hang out with you guys in the Southwest,
That's gonna be a fun trip.
doing a little
Dude.
road trip.
I'm so excited for that and to be going to Dragonsteel and doing everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be really exciting.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait. That's my one.
Devin, are you
confidence here.
going?
We'll see. It's let's put it this way. I booked a hotel in like February. Now, do I get a ticket or a media pass is two totally different conversations.
True,
But
true.
I can cancel the hotel up to like a week before. So
Okay.
Oh man, I
yeah,
hope
because
for
I
you.
know they sell
Are
out
you
so
listening?
fast.
Are you listening, Dragonsteel? Give him the media pass.
Yeah, I know, right? Brandon Sanderson.
Brandon,
please.
we're talking to you.
Yeah. Brandy
Please.
Sandy, do it.
Yeah, no, I would love to. I mean, it's definitely a goal. But for me to fly cross country, I need to like guarantee that I can go. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's totally
yeah.
justifiable. Yeah.
That is fair.
I mean, yeah. When it comes, I'm coming from Ecuador, so you know you have no excuses, Devin. But
That's fair. That is fair.
I'm just laying the guilt on hard. Be like,
You just
"Go,
got to find
man."
somebody to charge that off to as like a bit. Well, I mean, it's technically a business expense. I don't know how taxes work down there, but I'd at least write that off here.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
you can.
quite a corrupt South American country, so I don't know how tax write-offs would go. Be like, yeah, in exchange, we'll actually charge you double for what you for
Yikes.
this write-off.
Oh boy.
Victor has a good question. If you can
styling 'em.
recap a little bit about your rollout in terms of like, I guess, how you approach like the cover reveal, the book tour, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just as like a debut author, if anyone out there, I mean, Victor's clearly interested, so I'm sure other people will be too.
Yeah, I will actually tell people what you told me for putting out this digital book tour, because a lot of what I've done has really been like modeled after Adrian, what I saw you do with Mushroom Blues and what I've seen other people do. And really it's just getting a list of blogs and podcasts and people that you want to be able to interact with, to do guest posts and be interviewed on, and just sending it out an email and just being like, hey, I'm Michael Vadney. This is my book. This is what it's about. I'm putting together a tour and I would love to be able to come onto your platform and talk about it a little bit. Don't have to be too pushy. Don't have to like roll out the red carpet and write a sonnet for them. Just be a human being, be kind, and just
I mean, you
say, hey, I
could.
would like to do this.
I'm sure there are some people who would be very wooed by that.
I'm actually
it might work on
offended that
me.
I'm offended I wasn't serenaded for the cover reveal.
Yeah.
But I'll just let it go now.
Jeez,
Oh,
Michael.
well, oh God. Let me see if I can get something together.
Surprise sonnet just for Devin.
Why not?
Why not, man?
But yeah, I reached out to a bunch of people. I scheduled the book tour, and I made the very first stop of the book tour was just doing a cover reveal. And I reached out to Devin and a bunch of other people, and I was like, hey, I would like to throw this around the internet. Would you mind helping me? And again, it's just a willingness to put yourself out there and ask people. There were a bunch of people that I asked that I never heard anything from because I didn't have a relationship with them or they were busy. For the most part, a lot of us who are doing this, especially in indie, this is our second job. We have day jobs, we have families to take care of, we have all these other things that we have to do. So it's not a big deal if you don't hear back. Like, no one ever emailed me back.
Also,
how dare you reach out to me? You
Your
are a
book looks
despicable
like
human
shit.
being.
I'm not doing
Yeah,
Also,
no,
it's
that never happened.
increasingly more suspicious getting these cold emails when like we get the weird AI emails now.
Yeah.
of,
Oh,
like, hey,
all the time.
Yeah, so it's unfortunately, it's
no, but
getting
I mean,
harder.
at the very least, it's like if you reach out to somebody and you're like, "Hey, here's my book," and I'm not telling you like, you know, you or your book are like the most magnificent thing I've ever seen on the internet. And how are you not taking advantage of the algorithm and blah, 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 and all this
You're
stupid
giving me
crap
such
that these AI
Zoolander
emails.
vibes right
It's
now.
like, yeah. If you,
Adrian, that was an actual email. I was just trying to get you to give me money. No.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly. all of the AI
Wow,
emailers are
Adrian,
giving
calling the
money
poor
to
guy
Devin.
out.
That's what they're all going on.
Yeah,
But
they're all
if you,
funny.
Go
I
for it.
get. I have gotten actually, Michael. I was almost going to forward it to you, but they just go into my spam and I delete them. I get so many because I put the cover reveals on the site because they just don't even parse the fact that it's not my book. They're
Oh,
like, I love your book, Michael. I would love, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
that's great.
But I mean, it's
that's
like,
pretty good.
you can send an email that is pretty definitively like, this comes from a human. Like, one
Yeah.
of the things that AI emails never do is include attachments. So it's like, if you
Oh,
just
that's good
include
to
like
know.
if you include like a JPEG of like, here's my cover, and someone's just like, oh, okay, the email is from Michael Vadney, the cover says Michael Vadney, that
That's
is
good to
already
know.
more of a qualifier than like most of the AI. Hello, insert name here in square brackets, and then like whatever other crap shows
Hello,
up,
first
right?
name.
Yeah, straight up, like, some of it is just absolutely absurd. I showed Evan Lycum because someone emailed the SFF Addicts email saying like, hello Evan, we love your book Angie Kills a King, and it's just like, this is a podcast and we only did an interview with Evan, we have nothing like.
It's incredible. I got one for
Mm.
Stacey McEwen last week.
Wow.
And it was like, I can't do anything to help your book, but I would love it if you I was like, what in what world did you go to my website and think, oh yeah, this
Yeah.
is Stacey McEwen's website?
Also, I don't think Stacey McEwen needs help selling books.
No, I don't
She's
think so
doing
either.
fine. She's doing
I think
fine.
she's okay.
She's all right.
Yeah, but
So-
like on the flip side of that though, like when I get a genuine human being who is reaching out to me for like author adjacent or whatever, I am like excited to talk to them because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
a
And,
person made it
uh,
through.
Exactly. And that's always like really exciting. But even if I'm not in a position to do the thing that they want to participate in, it is nice to get those emails and have the chance to interact with more people in the community and not just get more AI emails.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. I mean, I had a funny interaction with Shannon McGuire recently. Even though we've recorded together before, we've spoken a bunch online, and I sent her an email which is like, hey, we're doing a panel on X topic, and you've done stuff with us before, and your Wayward Children series is like the perfect fit for this panel discussion. And then she emailed me like a week later and she was like, I almost didn't respond to this because like it was so nice that it felt like an AI email.
You just have to throw Buddy in there.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
have to throw
hey,
Buddy in.
buddy.
Hey, Sean and Buddy. I mean, we did talk about like getting cheese in Scotland, so I think
Nice.
we're at Buddy stage. But
There you
at
go.
the same time, she was just like so suspicious. She was like, "Why are you
gotta
being
stay
so
on your
nice to me?"
toes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but I mean, all things considered, like even cold calling podcasters and like booktubers and stuff like that. And I think, like from my perspective, doing a book tour like this, there was a good like 2-year stretch where there were a lot of book tour companies that were like
Yeah.
doing book tours for indie authors, and no shade to them or anything like that, but it was like I felt it was way too focused on like every stop was just at so and so on like Instagram or whatever. In which case it's like, okay, it's really helpful that content creators are showing off the book, but the author's not actually directly involved in that interaction, right? It's just like this book has been placed into the hands of this content creator and they're going to make a post about it, or they're going to make a reel, or they're going to post a TikTok or something along those lines, right? And I was like, why aren't people taking advantage of podcasts and people who do interviews on YouTube and people who do text Q&As on their blog, or blogs who will post a chapter excerpt or a guest post or something along those lines? Why aren't people talking more about cover reveals? Because that is easily like the most
huge
beneficial free marketing that your book can ever receive, is just doing a cover reveal. Is like, blast that out there through a bunch of people in the community, and that will just like get hundreds if not thousands of eyes on your cover in the span of like 24 hours, right?
Yeah, it's wild how, I don't want to say like low effort, because like you do got to put in the good amount of effort to coordinate all these people to make sure that you have like decent, clear graphics of your cover, and just try to make it easy for people to do your cover reveal, because you can give them like all the materials if they want to make their own post, but there are a lot of people who are really busy. Make the visual for the post for them and send that with everything, so that if you make it as easy as possible. If you want someone to do something, make it easy for them to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, this fits into what Victor's asking, like in terms of what you have in place before you start reaching out. I mean, yeah, website's good. I think it's good to have like some social media presence. But then in terms of like the assets, just like you can put together a book trailer, you can put together graphics and stuff like that on Canva, or if you have like
you can do it on Canva for free.
Yeah. And so there are like a lot of things that you can do, but it's like make it as easy as possible for someone to participate in something that spreads the word about your book. Is like the best thing you can do. Like I'm sure like someone reaches out to you, Devin, and just like, hey, can you help with a cover reveal? And they're just like, boom, here's a trailer that's already formatted for Instagram Reels or TikTok. Boom, here's a graphic that is already formatted for Instagram. It's like, oh yes, this is like makes my life so much easier.
They are awesome. I tell people all the time, if you have more than one render, send it. Send more than just so many times.
Or like send like PNG mock-ups of the cover is like a huge
that's I end up taking almost every cover I do, and it's like I have a pretty good layout that I use, but it's the website. I will post all the pictures you send me. Like I tell people this all the time. I'm like, send me the full jacket. Like don't just send me the cover. Like give me the information you want, because it's not, people get very hooked on the social piece of it, like you know, because of my following or whatever, my reach. And I'm like, I understand that part of it, but that's quick. It's quick turnaround. You know what I mean? 24, 48 hours, I have another video. The algorithm has now pushed, you know, the cover reveal
Something
down,
else,
and it's pushing out something else. The website, SEO, and Google live for so long. Like I did one recently for another book, and he was messaging me. It was like, you still show up above my book. And I was like, I'm sorry. But everything on my page, when you go into it, it directly links. Like it's the very top thing. You know, here's how to buy it. Here's how to find it on Goodreads. Here's if it's got an Audible link, then it'll go there. Otherwise it doesn't. But outside of that, and then you can scroll and get, you know, all the extra info if you want it. But the point is that it's click and buy, click and buy, click and buy. So
it's like,
whether I
really...
show up first or not, as long as the sale goes through, it's a win.
Exactly. And it's like, I think
I find
Google SEO is something that I don't think people think about anymore, but it's like literally
think about it.
Like a lot. I mean, good that you think about it, but there are like a lot of people who probably don't, or don't even know what SEO means, let alone think about it. But like every time there are a lot of authors that I look up like in Google Images and just be like, can I find like a high quality image of such and such author? And like a good like 70 to 80% of the time, the SFF Addicts thumbnail of my interview with that author comes up in like one of the first 5 to 10, or like within the first 10. And it's like that even just like an image, if someone like searches up like Michael Vadney Crownfall, and if Devin's the graphics from Devin's page come up, that's a huge win in terms of SEO, you know, because then it's just like that is a more direct line to a sale than, you know, some. I mean, I know you were like fighting recently to like get top Crownfall on Goodreads, but you know, just like simple things like that.
That was something
right?
petty for me.
No, I know, but it's things like that, right? It's like, what's my SEO and like my priority on Google versus like, or on Goodreads or on Amazon, and all these different kinds of things come into play too.
Having search results from multiple different sources, like you know, BroMantasy, your site, and like other sites, and not just the author site, to me it makes it feel like a more something that actually has roots, and like something that's actually real, like especially in the proliferation of instant authors who are doing the AI stuff, and it's just, it gets harder to trust things. But then So my point is like having your site and a couple other sites, and then Adrian, there's a image from Adrian's podcast. It all just makes it feel more like a real person with real books.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
And I mean, if people search your name up on Google and it's like, you know, your website, your Amazon page, your
it's
social
only
media,
you and nobody else has mentioned you ever. Yeah, that's
like that's a
fishy.
huge thing. It's like if you're the first page of results and everything is you, that is a huge win as an author, to just be able to like have Google bolstering your
being able to pull a bunch of stuff. Here's the Grimdark magazine thing. Here's a podcast thing. Here's a Spitball thing. Here's this, and it just it gives you like roots.
Yeah, that's a lot of what you're doing when you do a book tour. Is like it's not just the success of what you are doing for that one book, trying to get your sales and your pre-orders up in the very beginning. Like you're
people Googling you 6 months from now. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, you're seeding a lot of longevity.
Yeah, like if someone searches you up on YouTube, of course, like your podcast and your channel are going to come up, but the hope is that also interviews that you've done on YouTube are going to come up.
Yeah.
And that the algorithm is kind of like using your name to create like a spread of connection to what you've done in terms of like, okay, yes, I'm a content creator. I make a podcast. Go check that stuff out. But also here's my book. Here's me talking about the book. Here are links to the book. And, you know, hopefully that'll start spreading to here are booktubers who are reviewing the book and talking about it and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, there's a lot that you can do to generate the word of mouth.
Yeah.
Are you guys thinking of searching just the author name or like just the book name?
The book name as well, for sure.
Either.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just searched Crownfall Michael Vadney, like all 3 words, just to see what came up. And
I'm all over the place.
Pretty much exactly what you're describing. There's like a picture of him holding up his book and a bunch of interviews and everything. So he even gets an AI summary.
I'm really lucky.
There you
that
go,
my,
buddy.
My combination of first name and last name is so unusual that like I own my SEO.
Yeah, and I mean for
not
me,
the
like,
K, like it has to be the Krystle, but like if you put in Krystle Matar, there's nobody else.
Yeah, and I mean like I was very purposeful about choosing the name Mushroom Blues for my book. That is like there's literally nothing else on the internet that is even like remotely tied to this. You know, it's like if you put those 2 words together, that is what's going to come up first.
Yeah. That's even if the entrepreneur side of being
that's
you got to think about these things.
Yeah. So honestly, it's like book tours are, I think, probably like one of the most underrated things that indie authors, because like I know a lot of trad authors are doing book tours that are organized through their publishers, and those are usually like so-and-so is going to these cities in the United States and they're going to do an event at a bookstore and they're going to do a signing and they're going to do like a talk with another author or something along those lines. And it's like, okay, that's like, that's amazing. That's kind of like, those are the mechanisms of the trad publishing industry that work. Right. And unfortunately not every author in trad gets a tour like that, but every indie author has the possibility and the option to try and build a digital virtual book tour for themselves that takes advantage of the amazing network of podcasters and content creators and reviewers and everyone else out there. This is not a huge community. So it's like you can start to
make yourself known.
Make yourself known, make those connections, build those relationships. And even if you do end up cold calling, like cold emailing some people, they're not going to like, you know, start talking shit about you or anything like that.
Yeah, no one's going to curse you out for trying to do your best.
At worst, they're just going to be like, sorry, I don't have the time or I'm not interested. That book's not really for me, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no one's ever going to be super negative or pessimistic about it and just kind of like shun you. Yeah.
My only I was just going to say my only little tidbit on that too is don't cold call everybody. And I say that I don't mean it. Yeah. Like I get pitched books. Like, grant you, do I read outside my genre? Sure. Yeah. But I'm not a huge horror person, and it's not like, you know, it's just not my thing. And I've tried several different ones, and like I like it if it's mixed in. You know, if you have a genre blender, we'll talk. But like if it's a strictly horror book, it's just not my bag. But I will get those emails. They're like, I love your content, I love what you're doing, and here's my book, and it's this thing. And I'm like, I appreciate you reaching out. You don't want me to read your book.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like,
honestly,
you get a bad review.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't give
Well,
BroMantasy
I mean-
your like gorecore book. Like, please don't.
it's just it's not even like I
mean-
don't make it my business to review indie books in a negative light ever, unless well, I don't even want to say unless, but I won't negatively review an indie book. It's just not my bag. I think it's kind of, it's hard enough, in my opinion, to get out there and get things done.
Mhm.
I will give an honest review, don't get me wrong, but I'm not gonna smash
Yeah,
your
if it's
review.
genuinely not for you, then it's just
Yeah,
quietly
but
put it aside.
Mhm.
it's very
Hey,
the
Will.
only thing, like, I'm doing SPFPO this year.
Mhm.
I'm helping on Abel's team.
Both
So,
you
like,
and Mike are doing it. Yeah, props
Yeah.
to you
So-
guys.
that is the only time I've ever done a review for like a DNF, because
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't
those are
believe
hard.
I don't believe in
Yeah.
reviewing books I haven't completed,
Right, but
because
that's
it's
also
not
kind of like an
fair.
obligation for your
But,
role
yeah.
as a judge. Yeah.
For Spiffle,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the only time you'll ever see me, and I don't even want to say negatively. I'll just be like, hey, these are the things that didn't work, so I just put it down.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like, reviewing a DNF book is like, I don't normally do it, but when you submit your book into a competition where you are trying to
Mhm.
rank yourself against other books, there is an implied consent that I'm going to have to say things that you might not want to hear.
Yeah.
Apparently, you're the king of talking nicely about DNFs.
I do. I do.
That
Michael's
I
try-
DNFs are
both?
constructive criticism.
Yeah, there you go. Like, let me put a
That's
positive
my
spin
goal.
on this, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
And honestly, like, as
Yeah,
an indie author, I think that's probably like the best kind of negative review that I could
Genuinely,
get. You know?
I mean, it's easy to fall into the thinking of like, okay, negative reviews are hurtful, and like, yeah, they are. But genuinely, anytime I got a bad review in Spiffbo that said there's too much sex in this book, guess how many extra books I sold? Like, there is
There's
a
a lot of
market
sex in your
for-
books.
Mhm.
There's only 3, thanks. But
I'm very hold on.
It's pretty light. It's pretty light in comparison to a lot of things.
Yeah,
Devin's
it's
just like, let me talk about
Hang
how
on,
much
hang
sex
on,
is in
man.
this
Hold on.
book.
We're on my topic now. Hold on.
Oh
No.
yeah. But so even that, even in the light of like, or if for whatever reason you decided to like go all in on a horror and just be like, I had to put this book down at 75% because it just got too gory for me, that's gonna sell books for that author. So
sure.
No, but that's
I've
exactly
always
it's,
said-
it's like
not
the
to
adage
say that,
like,
you have to, but
Yeah.
it is good to
Yeah.
remember that like all reviews do sell books
yeah,
one way
it's
or
kind of
another.
like
Yeah.
there's a 1-star review is just as likely to sell your book as a 5-star review, because someone who looks at a 1-star review and
What
realizes
was the
everything
one?
this person hates is exactly what I
stuff
love,
that I want. Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
that's going to sell a book just as much as a 5-star review that's like completely, like in love with what you've done and in love with the story and everything like that.
Yeah.
Just
Like,
gotta keep a
1-star
good
reviews
attitude
can,
about it all.
yeah, they can work
Yeah.
in your favor for sure.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely think that there is a reader for every book. I
Mhm.
genuinely believe that. Like, even if it's not, wide, right? Like, there's going to be somebody out there that enjoys it. So
Mhm.
even when I did long form reviews, like Michael and I actually touched on this a little bit when I did author adjacent, but that's why I started breaking my reviews down the way I did, because it focuses on specific things and parts of the book in sections.
Yeah.
Because I've read reviews. I'm not a writer. I genuinely have no good definition of prose. I'll be the first one to say it. You'll never hear me in a review say, "Oh my God, the prose were so elaborate," or I couldn't tell you. I don't know what it means. I'm either
lush.
bored or it feels long or
Lush.
something. So like, I won't comment on it because I'm not a writer. I don't have a literary degree, but I know how I felt while I read it and things like
Mhm.
that. But somebody who might care about those things will be able to at least take that section of my review and go,
Mhm.
okay, I get what he's saying, because I'm not going to eloquently put why I felt the prose was bad. I'm just going to say I didn't enjoy the fact that the chapters are 500 pages each,
Mhm.
and that there was not a natural stopping point, or
Yeah.
Dear
whatever
God,
the case
I
may
would
be.
never be
Oh,
500
no.
pages, no scene breaks.
It's I read one book in all my time of reading that had like 4 chapters in a 500-page book. It was Spear
Are
Cuts
you
Through
kidding
Water.
me?
Spear
What
cut
the
through
fuck?
water. Okay.
That's
I've heard
not
good
the
things about that
with
book, though.
crows.
Book
I've-
though, phenomenal book. I pushed through it, and
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
like at least natural stopping points, like
Okay.
scene breaks where you could
Yeah.
go okay
Yeah.
and put it down. But he broke it up only in 4 sections, and I was just
Yep.
like, this. When I first opened it, I was like, I can't read this book.
That just seems like a very
I've also
deliberate
read a
choice
book
that I
that
don't understand
did that.
why.
I've also
It is-
read a
I
book
mean,
that did that. It's actually the
Shroud by Adrian Tchaikovsky, I've heard, is in like 4 or 5 parts or something like that. How precarious is that shelf, Krystle?
No,
What
I
is
just-
going on?
Is everything going to
just-
come down right now?
Oh no!
Yes.
Seriously, it
glass-
is?
Yeah, I have like an antique glass bottle here, and yesterday
yeah.
I was able to pull the same book down, no
concerns.
problem. But
Today is
continue
risky
talking
business.
without me. I'll be back.
We're all
The whole
we're all
focus.
invested in your future.
Yeah. I mean, it's harrowing, Krystle.
Well, I
But-
have another question for Michael.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
So, Michael, did
my
you ever
core books
consider coming up
betrayed
with
me.
a pen name?
Oh,
I like that.
not
one.
even for a second.
Like Michael
like-
Vadney.
Just trying to hide my identity. No, I never wanted to do that, mainly because I didn't want the complication of creating an identity for myself that I would have to manage outside of just being my normal anxious person. It just didn't sound
Well.
like something that would bring me happiness.
That's totally fair. But then again, that would have been a decision that you made when you started the podcast
Yeah.
more than
Yeah.
anything. Because like,
Technically, your podcast persona is another identity.
yeah, because
Like,
like,
it's you, but it's not.
like I started.
Is this how we
I
learned that Michael doesn't smile nearly this much in real life?
Michael
I am
actually hates
heartbroken.
authors. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. That's why he's author
okay.
adjacent. He won't commit.
Will has
I'm
confirmed
fermented.
that Shroud is 6 parts. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
yeah.
it. But
Thank you, Will.
but Mike, like so basically, like once I started tattooing when I was living in Berlin, I created like an artist name, Adrian M.
Mhm.
Gibson, and
Mm.
that just kind of carried forward into everything. So like my artist name as a tattoo artist became my podcaster
Yeah.
name, became my author name. So
Wow.
I think.
We were actually just talking about whether that was your real name.
The other
I mean,
day.
I told you that it's not my real name.
Nope, you and I have never talked about this.
Really?
I have
Oh, Krystle
suspected
knows
for a
about this.
while,
Yeah, yeah.
but we have not talked about it.
I think he showed me a message with you, and I said, "Oh, that's not the name you usually say. You always say Adrian M. Gibson." Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys realize,
Oh,
Michael
yes,
speaks
okay,
about
it's the-
all of you
it's the
guys in
last name.
full
Yes, yes,
names.
yes.
Every whatever your
I'm
name
gonna
is.
go
he
hide
uses
underneath the
about
desk
everyone.
now.
What like a student in class like saying their teacher's name is like Mr. Mr. or
He'll be
Mrs.
like, "Oh yeah, I have this meeting later with Krystle Matar and Adrian M. Gibson and I'm trying to remember
At
who
this
else.
point,
And
just say our
Jenna
first
Kelly."
name.
I do now.
How long did this go on, Jen?
Like a few
Like
weeks
until
ago.
until like a month ago,
Wow.
maybe.
Wow.
Well, like,
really?
okay, I had a reason for this. I didn't know if she remembered who I was talking about every time. And normally, when you hear an author's
Brutal.
name, you
Shots
hear their
fired.
full name. Ah, go.
I don't trust your memory, Jen.
Apparently, I'm forgetting who all of you people are. So this
Jen,
is
you are the problem.
Oh my God.
Make it clear.
I
I
love
was
this.
trying to help.
Well, now
I-
now you can just eschew that
Yep.
that wasted breath, and just say
Yeah,
use our
you
first
can,
name.
you can
say their first
pare
names.
those syllables down a little bit.
Oh my
yeah.
God, dude.
I'm genuinely curious about the pen name. So I have my hot take on a pen name, which is it's just an adult way of still using like AIM screen names. But the other take
I
on
love
it
it.
is that how does it work? Like from a legal standpoint of like publishing and copyright and all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, like do you have to legally register your pen name? Like how does that work?
I mean,
need
from
an
my
APA.
perspective, it's basically like, I have an LLC in the United States through which I publish my books, and so the LLC is with my legal name, which is tied to my pen name, and then everything that I publish is copyrighted through my pen name and the LLC. So it doesn't really create any complications in that front. And like I have friends who publish under pen names with traditional publishers, and it basically comes down to like the
Shauna
contract is
McGuire
like
is one of them, isn't she?
Yeah,
She publishes
yeah.
under ML Grant?
Mira
Or am I
Grant
thinking
and
of
like
something- Mira Grant,
like,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
I'm
So they're
smashing two names
authors who it's
together,
like
I think.
they write under a pen name, or they publish under
Mhm.
multiple names, and it's basically
Especially
just
when
a
they
case.
cross genre.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
basically just a case of like when it comes down to contracts, it's very clear so and so is the legal name, aka or publishing as or writing
Yeah.
as whatever
Okay.
pen name they have.
Hereby
So,
referred to as.
yep, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes
So-
sense. Okay, I was always curious because I was like, how does that work? If I was just like, oh no, I'm Adrian Gibson today. Like, what's up? Like, this is my book.
Yeah, but I mean, like I've also done like I've basically changed my entire online presence, so only
Mhm.
Adrian M. Gibson shows up, and that's just kind of like for me personally, like I like having that privacy. My wife is very similar, whereas like we know people who publish under their real names who sorry Michael, but like they regret it down the line. But like but like that's everyone's personal preferences, right? So it's like if you put the thought into it and decided I don't necessarily want to create a pen name and carry that like other persona, then that's a very justifiable reason to just do what you did, like for me it was very easy for me to carry forward, like this is what I've been doing at this point, like 13 years of like working professionally. My entire like professional adult life has been under this pen name, in which case it makes sense for me to kind of carry it forward regardless of the medium, from tattooing to podcasting to writing and whatever else. So food for thought. I see the gears churning in Michael's head.
Michael's like, oh no.
It's
To
too
be
late
honest,
now,
though,
buddy.
it's never too late. It's never too
Oh
late.
my god. Oh my
Look
God.
at whatchamacallit, what is that, Silver Elite or whatever? Nobody still knows who that author
Oh, Danny
is.
Francis?
Yep, nobody has a clue. Penguin had to come. Was it Penguin? I forget who her publisher is, but
Yeah.
they had to come out and be like, "No, this is a real person. We promise.
Yeah.
It's just a pen name."
Or like
There's
Chuck
really
Tingle,
good-
who Chuck Tingle, who like
Yeah,
wears
I
like
was just
a
thinking of that.
bag over his head. So, there are like multiple ways
icon.
of going about it. There's no one wrong way or right way, but it's kind of like, what's your personal preference? And for me, like I feel like everything that I do online is very much representative of like how I am in my everyday life. Like I don't feel like I'm portraying a persona. I feel like I'm just being myself, but just
That's
that's
just your tattoo name.
yeah, that's just my tattoo name, man. So I just haven't gotten it tattooed on myself.
You should
Not yet.
just start tracking down tattoo clients and just like put AMG on.
Put my
Right
signature
under your-
on
You
it.
can find them.
I would.
I have a question for Michael, actually, because I'm interested now. So
Go for
now
it.
that you've gotten some reviews
Mhm.
and you've had the feedback flowing in, so maybe even at beta stage, but is there anything about the story that stuck out to people that you did not expect them to latch onto at all?
I am constantly surprised. So I have three main POVs within the story. They're all on the cover. Amara, Gellert, and Kindell. And while I was writing this and giving it to people, and even like through the time I had it with the Writers Anonymous writing group, I thought it would be a pretty even split on who everyone's favorite would be. I thought like some people would gravitate towards Kindell because he's kind of like the action star of the book, and some people would gravitate towards Gellert because he represents a lot of like the world building and the magic and the technology and everything that happens with that because he's a magic engineer. But it is a very clear winner. Everybody loves Amara the best.
Yep.
Everybody loves her. And that just shocked me. Like she's
I think-
awesome.
I think that was
go ahead.
like my biggest takeaway when I gave you feedback. Was just
Yeah.
like Amara's chapters, like very
Yeah.
little feedback.
Yeah.
This
No
worked,
notes.
This worked. This
No,
worked.
I-
This worked.
I still think of the one note you gave me on the read where it was just I had an Amara chapter and then there was another Amara chapter and he's like, "You spoil me," and I'm like, it makes me laugh every time I think about it.
Michael, you should do your book elevator pitch because some people
Yeah.
in the chat are wanting to know more about it.
Yeah, show the cover and then give a quick pitch and a comp.
I can definitely do
Right
that.
back.
So, Crownfall is about a. There you go.
Oh no, I don't want to be the
all
one.
Adrian.
No, not me.
It's all Adrian now.
Adrian's
Michael?
giving the pitch.
I wanted you to be like, I don't know how these views work. Let me see.
I'll wait.
Michael's frozen in his pitch now.
He should be the one
This is
talking. so he
actually
should
the
be-
pitch. It's just a big
Oh, mine's backwards.
thing. Oh,
It's just a bunch
all
of
right.
sites.
No.
Now
Oh,
we're
there's
all
the art.
tiny.
That's
That
actually
kinda
cool.
works.
Okay, yeah,
I'll
that
go
works.
with that. I'll go with
let's
that.
Good enough.
So, Crownfall is about a thief, a magical engineer, and a noble lady as they are radicalized against the viceroy of their nation, and who is coming up with a 10-year plan for domination. And each of them are pulled into this political machination of what this viceroy is doing. And it's got, like I said, Kindle is our action hero, so we have a bunch of like really cool fight scenes and chase scenes and a lot of cool stuff with that. We have a lot of political intrigue, especially with Amara, who is trying to revive her financially and socially destitute house. And then we have Gellert, who is a magical engineer, and he is trying to figure out how to stick to his moral code when he doesn't have the strength to defend it. And that's kind of like my
comps?
elevator pitch for it. Oh yeah, for comps, if you like the world building of Netflix's Arcane, the emotional grit of like Six of Crows, it has like a lot of the political machinations of the City of Brass, and you just take all of that, stir it into a pot, and you have Crownfall.
Throw some crystals in there.
Oh yeah, a lot of crystals.
A lot of crystals.
Like the back cover is.
Yeah, that really.
I love
popped.
this
It's
so much.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, on that note, do you want to talk a little bit about because Max was asking about I mean, you didn't have an art director. You were the art director.
Yes.
But if you want to
Maybe
talk
he
a
meant
little
the
bit about
artist?
if you want to talk a little bit about the process of like doing the cover art with Katarina.
Yeah.
Anything
You
like that?
introduced me to Katarina because she had worked on something for you at the time.
Katarina
And
Belikova, go check out. I'll throw her
Ninja
her
Joe on
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah, I'll throw her link in the comments. But you continue.
Yeah, she is amazing. Because you and I talked about it, about like what kind of book cover I wanted, and my favorite book cover of all time is The Last Mortal Bonds by Brian Staveley.
Yes.
Absolutely
Oh,
my favorite thing until this one existed. Now this is my favorite, but I'm very biased. But I absolutely love that cover. It's this dark kind of like painterly style, and he told me about Katarina, yes, that's it right there. Absolutely love that cover. I need to get a
These
copy.
books got me back into fantasy, so that's a really good pull, Michael.
They're so good. Read Skullsworn. It's also really good.
Yeah, I have that one too.
But I reached out to Katarina after we agreed to work with each other. I made a Google Doc, and the very first image of the Crownfall cover was just me typing Crownfall, Michael, and then having 3 clip art figures of roughly the position I want them to be and going, eh? And just underneath that, I just wrote out descriptions and just various pictures of like, this is Kindle, this is what he looks like, this is Amara, what they look like and such. And then I was just getting iterations of the art from Katarina, and I had very little input at that point because she just nailed it again and again from the very beginning. She did a really great job. I think I changed the position of Amara in the beginning, and then we had a little bit of like feedback towards the end to just kind of make it pop a little bit more. But other than that,
with the colors, you mean? Or?
Yeah,
More
with
crystals.
the colors, like to get like the crystal like here, and this more like orange, like almost like Quake line looking art at the bottom. It's just so good. But other than that, Katarina did an amazing job. She was excellent to work with. I would highly encourage her for literally anyone who wants a fantasy cover who's looking for this vibe. She's
not
amazing.
just fantasy. Like her specialization is like cyberpunk.
Sci-fi.
Cyberpunk, yeah, her sci-fi stuff is really cool.
Man, she's so versatile. It's amazing.
Yeah, very talented artist. It was really great working with her.
Yeah, shout out to Katarina. This is, I mean,
and
some people are asking
standalone.
that it's a standalone, but it's like,
yes, I 100% intend this to be a standalone. I made that choice for multiple reasons. One, I wanted to write a complete story and not leave anything hanging, because if I wrote Crownfall and I didn't do a good job, I didn't want to be committed to a series. I don't think that's what happened.
yeah.
People can judge it
I
for
mean,
themselves.
it's kind of like it fits perfectly with what agents and editors are kind of going for in the traditional publishing world of like, it's a standalone, or it's like, it's a standalone with sequel potential.
Series potential,
Yeah.
Series
Yeah.
potential, sequel
Yeah.
potential, yeah.
I did that on purpose too, because if for some reason Crownfall skyrockets and does an amazing job and everybody loves it and the masses chase me down and they want more, I wanted to be able to have room to do that, but I didn't want to commit myself to doing that if I didn't want to.
Yeah, honestly, that's totally fair. Like, I think it's a big thing in indie right now. There's a lot of pressure to just like do series.
Yeah.
And honestly, like as kind of like authors who are newer in their careers, it's like that can be a bit of a burden.
It's
All things
intimidating.
considered. Yeah, I mean, especially if it's like I spent however much time writing book one, and then you put out book one and people are immediately like, where's the next one? I'm like,
Oh God.
It's like, oh fuck.
You're like, I'm
It's
gonna
a
need
great
like 4
it's
more
a-
years.
it's a great
like, give me a
problem to
little time.
have, but it's
Yeah.
scary.
It's scary.
It's a scary feeling. Yeah.
You're also doing so much to learn just to write a book.
Mhm.
Why force yourself to have to learn how to write a series at the same time?
Listen, some of us are dumb, okay?
I learned from you all. That's all I'm saying.
we make mistakes. We make mistakes.
Put one on the spine. You could just tell people, be like, that's the only one. That's why it says one.
Yeah.
It's a one of one.
I also
It's a
have
one and
numbers
one.
on my spine.
I standalones.
Oh my god.
I have a love-hate relationship with standalones, because
Yeah,
standalones
because
are,
when they're really good, you're like, I want more immediately.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that has been the trend. I've seen an uptick of interconnected standalones being a thing.
I like
lately.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adrian,
Like,
I can never say his last name.
Tchaikovsky?
Yes, his books. I don't have it on hand. His most recent release, the silver covers with the border.
Children. A silver
Yeah,
covers
children.
with- no. City of Last Chances.
Yes, so like there's like
Hmm.
6 of those now, or 5 or 6, but
Yeah, those
they're
are
all.
gorgeous.
The publisher had reached out to me to ask, and I was like, "This is a book 6 in a series." I was like, "No," I was like, "I can't read 5 books to read
And it's
this
like-
when it comes out." And she's
Mhm,
like, "No,
yeah.
it's all interconnected standalones in the same
Mhm.
like world and universe." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "That's interesting."
That is such a like that is my author skill white whale. Like I feel like I'm going to be chasing that skill for the rest of my career. It is such an impressive skill to pull that off. And so I cut my teeth on David Gemmell. He's up there somewhere. He's kind of some of the books that
Don't
almost
risk it
fell
again.
on me.
Don't
I'm
risk
not
it.
going back. Yeah.
We'll lose you.
we'll lose Krystle
Yeah.
in an avalanche of books.
Midnight Falcon is my first David Gemmell, and his books are like that, where you could pick up any of them, which was great because it turns out they were really hard to find here in Canada back in the early 2000s. So any single book that I got stood alone. But if you're able to read all of them, and also if you're able to read them out of order, you pick stuff up that you might not have noticed if you read them in order.
Mhm.
And ever since I've been like, I gotta do that. I gotta figure out how he did that. I haven't figured it out yet. It's not happening for me.
That's the Terry Pratchett thing, right? So
Yeah.
Discworld is like that to an
Discworld.
extent,
Discworld,
because it's like
yeah.
it's like
There are
interconnected
some standalones
series,
and there's
right?
some it's like there are some series, like there's like the books about death that are kind
Mhm.
of interconnected through
Mhm.
the presence of death. There are some standalones as well, where it's kind of like you understand that, you know, there's references to locations and there's some characters who kind of cross over. But I think Discworld is probably like one of the most impressive feats of like interconnected shared universe world building
Such
that
a
I've
cool
seen.
skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day.
That's
One
always
day, maybe.
exciting for a reader too.
Yeah.
To like
So-
find the bits in each other's books.
Yeah, but also it's kind
Yeah.
of like, I mean, that's kind of the approach that I'm taking with my universe, with the Fungalverse, is like there are going to be
Mhm.
multiple series and some standalones within this shared universe, and there are going to be different
Yeah.
entry points for different
Yeah.
kinds of readers. So someone might
I'm-
like detectives and police procedurals, awesome. Someone might be more into like kind of samurai epics, in which case, like, awesome. How about Fungal samurai epics? Someone might be into like cyberpunk, and then kind of get into it that way, right? So I think there are like a lot of different approaches to it, but from your standpoint, I think just doing a standalone with broader potential down the line
It's a good.
is a smart move,
call.
especially with
Good
like
call.
what you've been telling us about like your next
Yeah, the
project.
next one.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
do
I'm
we get
so
that?
excited about
Preview, preview.
Nothing exists yet. I'm still world building, but I'm very excited for that next
Secret.
project.
Secret for today. Well, Christopher Nava's got a good question. How you doing, Chris? Which character was the most challenging to write, or was there any non-spoiler, of course, element that had you stumped on how to proceed forward?
Ooh, that's actually a really easy answer. Kindel was the hardest one to write. Amara was actually the easiest, and she's everyone's
I wonder
favorite, which makes me
why
laugh.
people connected with her so well.
I know.
She's
but yeah,
the most Michael Vadney of all the characters in your book.
not at all. She's
No,
way
just
better than me.
Is she the emotional hook? Like
She is
to the
not.
story? No. Okay.
Oh, well, actually, she can be the emotional hook because of the relationship with her mother. That is an emotional hook of the story, I will definitely say. But like
Yeah.
Kindle has a lot of emotional
She felt the
hooks,
most
and so does
relatable
Jeller.
from my perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
She has very human problems.
Yep.
Like
That's why I asked, because I was like, that's usually the character that sticks out the most.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's always the one that like most people find it easy to connect to or feels the most human. And I know it always sounds crazy because people, it's fantasy, it's escapism, it's that like I don't care what it is. If it doesn't have that element to ground the story and like pull me into it and make me care about the characters, like if you created a true fantasy where like it was completely off base, like they acted like completely different beings that don't exist, I think that would be a hard sell for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Why
one of the
why
things
was
I
Kindle
really
the hardest though?
I couldn't nail down his character for a while in the beginning because for a while he was just whiny, angsty, and angry, and nothing else. And
He was like
what a
he was like
king.
the My Chemical Romance character in this book.
Yeah, for a while he was. He was just that like angsty little boy kind of energy, and it just wasn't hitting. It wasn't working, and it took a lot of editing, a lot of back and forth between Jen and I to like really figure out how to make him compelling. I like him. I still think he's great now, but for a while, I hated working on his stuff.
Oh man.
But it definitely took me a while to get there.
Main character.
There's always
No.
one character.
Main character.
And like even from the reviews, I feel like that does come through on the page from the reviews that have gone so far. Is like people are telling me it's like Amara is easily everyone's favorite. Jellert, people are enjoying him, but they're not the favorite. And Kindle is like he has the lowest lows and the highest highs in the story. So like
he has
there
the
are
most dramatic
parts there.
storyline out of everyone though.
He does. It's very dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense that he's a little angsty drama boy.
Yeah, but like
I was just gonna say, I actually think Jellert changed the most. Like there was the most like
I had the most feedback from Michael about Jellert.
Yeah, he had the most iterations. Like Michael has mentioned before, Jellert was initially supposed to be much older and more of like a religious Templar, and then later on became this like younger, like magic engineer, kind of intellectual, moral character. But even in the seventh or eighth draft, it must have been the seventh draft because it was the last one before we did like pure editing for 2 drafts. Jellert's story still had major changes in draft 7.
Yeah.
So I think that there was definitely challenges. It was very different from the challenges with Kindle. I'm also trying to be very careful to no spoilers, but but I'm like tiptoeing around. Like they all had evolutions. Amara is the closest to draft 1. Kindle and Jellert both changed, but in very different ways.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very cool.
I
love how
remember-
characters can develop like this.
Yeah. I remember I got very early feedback on Jellert when I was in the writing group. And at one point, this older fella, Jack, who was in our group, he's retired and writing and just enjoying the group with us. And he just turned to me and goes, "Why is Jellert such a wuss?" And I'm like, you know what? You're right. He 100% is. He's whining all the time. And luckily, we took out a lot of that and got him to be a lot more of an interesting character. And I really enjoy where he ended up. He has a lot of like really cute moments in the book that just warm my heart.
I appreciate this old Jack for dropping a truth bomb on you.
Said it how it was.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask Jen,
I
wanted to ask Jen about like the editing process, because this was like the first book that you edited, right?
Yes. I never imagined I would be doing book editing until my husband decided to be an author. I actually have half a degree in writing. In my undergrad, I did a degree that our college had called Interdisciplinary Arts, where you get to choose 2 focuses. And my focuses were visual arts and writing. So like painting and drawing and everything, along with like writing novels, short stories, technical writing, like all kinds of stuff. And I never really like, obviously you write in almost every career. Like writing is a skill that's useful no matter where you go. Since then, I became a software engineer, so didn't really expect to be doing book editing. But I've always loved stories. I've always seen the passion that Michael had for his writing and for the stories. Like I keep telling him, like, stories run through his blood, because ever since we met in college, and that was how long ago? 15 years? Am I doing?
No,
we met 16 years ago, and ever since then, he's told me about story ideas that he has. I've read a few drafts, a few like chapters and stuff that he wrote, but he never got so far until, as you know, about 5 years ago, he really decided, like, if he's ever going to do it, he's got to do it. And so I helped a little bit early on, but I think that the feedback that I had early on, it was like he valued my opinion too much to hear negative things from me at the early stage. And that was when he went with the writing group, where he could have strangers read his work. And it evolved a lot during that time. And I think the next time I did like a true solid read of it was around the 3rd draft. Was when we were on the cruise ship. And I spent like a solid week while we were on a cruise, where every spare minute was reading this book and jotting down feedback. And like we had a whole
Jen's cruise vacation.
Yeah, it was really fun. But what we basically ended up with is what we called the master list of problems after draft 3. And it was like all the things like, okay, this doesn't add up, this character is being inconsistent, we need to understand what's happening in the larger world in order to have this, make sense throughout the entire book. And it was just like this. Do you remember how many pages that was? It was like,
it was pretty big.
20 pages.
Pretty close.
Yeah. So that was like the main thing, and that was mainly just trying to figure out, like, the core of the story was there, but between that draft and probably the next 2 or 3 drafts, a lot of story things changed. Even like facts about the world that the characters exist in still changed.
I love Adam.
Yeah, I just saw the chat from Adam.
So anyways, it evolved so much during that time, and I feel like getting through that hurdle, like solving all the problems that we documented, and we were working together on that. Like I was leaving comments, leaving feedback and stuff in like Google Docs of every chapter, and in that process, we found a lot of things that needed to be fixed, but we also found a lot of like gems hidden in there that it was like, but this part is so good, or like this part is really like emotionally just like pulls at your heartstrings. This part is just a cool action scene. And it's like his style kind of really started to emerge there, which I thought was incredible. And I mean, we went through a few more drafts after that. I think at one point you had, do you remember which draft was beta readers? I can't remember now.
I think I gave draft 5, maybe 4 or 5.
5 sounds
Because
right.
we totaled at 10, I think.
Yeah. I think like around 5 he gave it to other people again, because like I don't think the book would have been as good if he was only getting my opinion and no one else's. But then like, you know, even like bringing back the other feedback and like discussing what things 5 different people or however many people did the beta read liked and disliked about the book. It really is dedication. If you want, because feedback Michael has gotten a lot is that this doesn't feel necessarily like an indie book. It feels polished. It feels like it could have been traditional, and really it's dedication to seeing it through for 10 drafts is what it takes to get that kind of polish. And it was hard. Like we had fights over editing this book.
Yeah.
And what it usually boiled down to was me not wanting him to settle for a lesser version of what I believed he was capable of in this book. Like I was like, I know you're tired. I know you've been working on this for years. And sometimes you're like, I just want to call it done and push it out the door. But I know you can do better. And in the end, he did. And I just think that it's like, it genuinely is an incredible book now. So that was a long story about what editing was like for this. I hope it
well, I mean,
it highlights something that I think is really important about editors, though, because it's like you pushing Michael to like do his best really highlights the fact that you as an editor are invested in the story that he's telling. And it's like, I was talking to a friend recently about how one of our mutual friends has an editor and their relationship is very clinical almost, where it's kind of just like, here is story, here are edits, here is money in exchange for edits. And that to me feels like awful, because I want my editor to be like excited about this, you know, like getting my first chapter back of A Murder Most Fungal from Ed, and he was like, his first sentence was, "This fucking slaps."
Awesome.
And I'm like, that's what I want. Like that's what I fucking want. You know what I mean?
Getting
I
that first compliment
invested
from
hype.
someone that believes in you.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, getting like a really genuine suggestion on how to push it harder is like, oh, that's part of the addiction to this process that always keeps me crawling back, no matter how fed up I am. Because like I've also had the honor of some cool compliments from Ed Crocker, and it's like, God, yes, I'm in my game now. Like, and then there's like some logistical stuff. It's whatever, I don't care. He compared me to Steinbeck. We're going. I know. It was so good. I froze Adrian. Yeah, that was a good one. I was rolling on that one for weeks.
It's like crack.
Yeah. I mean, we're addicted to the chaos. So.
Yeah, it's true.
It's kind of like what you're talking about earlier, that little like depressed lull that you had after being like, I'm finished.
It's inevitable
ready
when
to
you're
publish.
on the substances.
But then you get back into it's inevitable when you're on the substances.
In this case, the substance being writing. Good prose and character.
Yeah, doing lines of good prose.
That was a great line.
That's a shirt-worthy line. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god, we should get those T-shirts made for Dragonsteel.
Absolutely.
We'll get kicked out. We'll get kicked out for sure. Doing lines.
Oh, good Brandon Sanderson's convention.
No, it would be fine. I saw some of the stuff that happened at Dragonsteel last year. I think that wouldn't be that bad.
Okay. Yeah. And it'd be like, we're not talking about drugs. We're talking about writing. It's fine.
Listen,
Yeah.
they had Pierce Brown there, so I mean,
That's true. And
he
Matt
was-
Dinniman.
He,
And
he
Matt
had
Dinniman, so-
and Dinniman. They did like HowlerCon, and like Dinniman was pretending to be killed in the middle of Dragonsteel on the convention floor. So yeah,
Let's do it then. Yeah. Let's
yeah.
get
I
these
think
shirts
I think you're safe with the shirts.
Nice.
Oh my
All
god.
right, we're gonna need t-shirt sizes for everybody.
Yeah. Adam's asking, you've got another book plan. Yes, he has another book plan, but what are some of the biggest
I do.
takeaways you've gotten from this process that you'll carry forward into your next project?
Ooh.
I want to cut in and say, once again, learn from me and do not assume that just because you've finished a book that the next one is going to be any easier. The next one will be harder, and that's okay.
Yeah.
No, continue.
No. This one is definitely going to be harder. I'm planning out a series that I'm very excited for. The thing that I'm mostly taking away from Crownfall into this one is there were a lot of decisions that I made in Crownfall as far as like the world building and the characters and the plot, where I really put off making these decisions. I
Ooh.
still believe very strongly that you don't need to know everything in order to get started. But there are some key things about my world. Jen's going to kill me for this one. A timeline that I should have known way earlier in the process that would have made editing this a lot easier.
I mean,
And
dude,
so
you
that's-
decided to do 3 POVs for your first book.
That was a
and it's
mistake.
Like,
Like it worked out. I'm very happy with where we ended
Yeah.
up. But as like a first time author, keep it to 1 POV, guys. Just save yourself a lot of hassle. That will make it a lot easier. But yeah,
No,
going into
it's
this
totally
next
true,
project,
yeah.
I want to know so much more about like the timeline of things and who my characters are going into the story. I think that will help a lot.
I think the timeline for Crownfall happened around draft 7.
Yeah.
And that was
I was-
something we fought about. I was like, we need
Yeah, I
a
was
timeline.
yeah.
I was very resistant to making a timeline because I'm like,
I mean-
doesn't matter.
I mean, is that kind of like coming from the perspective of like, okay, maybe you're like more of a plotter versus or like a pantser versus a plotter kind of thing?
No, you're a
Or-
plotter,
I-
aren't you?
Or
I'm a plotter.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then like, how the fuck did you keep track of everything in your head?
He didn't.
That's fair.
He had a
That's
very
fair.
lovely editor.
The editor
catching him
helped a
on his
lot.
bullshit.
Because
Yeah.
literally like in like my stories, it doesn't matter if like that they're not
Mm.
taking place in our world. It's like in my outline, I use I assume it's on a similar sort of like day, like
Calendar.
like hour, day, whatever kind
Yeah.
of month, year sort of structure as our world. So I'm like, this one takes place on March 18th at such and such time frame. This one takes place on like March 19th at such and such time frame. So I have like
I
an
did
idea of
that.
like when things are taking place, even if it's kind of like, okay, just the general vibe is like this scene takes place in the like dusk or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if I have another POV character, then it's like, okay, that character's thing, maybe it takes place the same day, but it's a little bit later in the day or around the same time or something like that. It's like having that structure in my head makes things so much easier. So I don't know how you balance.
That's
3
what I plan to do
characters.
this time.
I'm gonna hurt your feelings because things occur to me in such chaos and out of order where it's like, it'll be cool if Hugo assassinates this guy. When will that happen? I don't know. And then I write a bunch of stuff and then I go, this doesn't make sense there, and I move it, and then I have to edit it to fit the new timeline. And this is why it takes me forever to write books. And yet I can't plot for shit. So it like I don't know how to fix this.
It's okay if the timeline happens afterwards. Like that's
Yep.
what ended up happening.
Sometimes it
That's
just
like
has to.
you have most of the book written, and then you put all the events in what you believe is chronological order, and then you go,
Yep.
oh,
Yeah.
wait, that actually has to be before this one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that said 2 weeks
Yep.
ago, but that definitely was not 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just move it
That's
around
me.
until it works.
Unless it's very clearly a
There's-
book that takes place in like 2 different like time periods, then it's like fine. But also still, you know,
I
having a
had to- I had
timeline
to
helps. You little
Retroactively.
like chaos gremlin, Krystle.
I had
Yes,
to
100%.
retroactively count the days that pass in Brightwash so that I
Oh
could
my
line up Brick
God.
and Bone, so that, and it was such a like I have an old draft somewhere where it's like I wrote in the corner, not a draft, but like a proof copy, where I wrote in the corners like, 6 days since this event so that I could track them. And that's
Jen
how
did
I
that for
learned.
Crownfall.
Yeah, that's
made
how
a
I learned
spreadsheet.
that writing the second book is harder because you have to remember what you wrote in the first book.
Yeah. I mean,
There's,
that's kind of like
oh.
there's the like benefits of like going back and your books are very long, Krystle, so going back and like
Yeah.
reading it is a task in
Fortunately,
and of
I
itself.
have excellent audio.
But like I'm, for reasons I can't announce, going through the formatting of Mushroom Blues again, and that is
Mm.
like really helping me to reframe things for
Yeah, and
book
just
2.
like sink back in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's what I ended up doing for book 3, for Ash and Stone. That like I got the feedback from the alpha reader, because it was a bad draft, but it was an alpha read, so it's okay. It's allowed to be bad. And then I just sat down and I read / listened to 1 and 2, and I went, oh yeah, okay, I see what I was setting up there, and actually it pays off in that scene in Ash and Stone. Turns out I know what I'm doing. Just I don't know how it ends up on the page. Which is why I advocate for writing
all the
books that
teases
you
out.
like. Yeah.
I found it funny. I've read a couple indie books now that have made the jump and done like the audio after. And it's actually kind of crazy how much things can change and the story still works. The characters are still the characters, you know what I mean? Like the bones of the story is all still there, but whether it's cutting stuff out or moving things, I've noticed more than even cutting, is like things happening in a different order, even though they seem inconsequential, it just makes it flow so much better.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting to see, because like obviously I'm not an editor. I read finished copies of books, or arcs, which are essentially finished copies of books. So to see it like from that side of it, I was like, oh, this is what people mean when they say developmental edits.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Something I haven't had a chance to really talk about on the tour, actually. There is this document that Jen created during the editing. It was the Crownfall editing status document, and I wish I could show this document to the world.
Do you want to share your screen?
No, I can't, because it's filled with
spoilers.
Okay, that's fair.
The reason I want to share it with the world, though, is because she had every chapter and then statuses for like where it was in the editing process. This was like the final rundown of like her and I hammering it out every night, trying to get this done by our deadline. And for every chapter, there's just this one-line synopsis of what the chapter is about. And I wish I could just share these one-line synopsis, because they kill me every time. They're so funny about like this out-of-pocket take of what these chapters were about. I'm holding on to it someday, because I'm hoping I could do something where I could release this to the public, to people who have already read it.
If you ever do a sequel or something and you need like a recap, you can put it as the recap.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Jen's synopsis of Crownfall.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that would be perfect. That would also be like good Patreon content. As well.
Oh yeah. Underrated thing in books that I want to see more of as a reader is the last time on Dragon Ball Z recap in the beginning of book 2.
I mean, I did a police report recap of Mushroom Blues for book 2.
Oh, that's smart.
So it's kind of like, it's like an in-world thing. I mean, it's like very spoilery, but like I designed it with like I designed it with like there's like photos from scenes in book 1, and there's like the logo of like the police department and stuff like that. And it's written like a police report, so it was like, for me, it was so nice. It was like, I can be so bullet pointy with this shit. I don't have to get like complicated about anything.
Yeah. I did a like a day by day recap for like for the beginning of Brick and Bone of what happens in Brightwash, and I found it a skill that I'm going to continue doing even if I'm writing standalones, because I found if anything wasn't worth recapping, it didn't need to be there generally. And so then when I went through Brick and Bone for the final what am I trying to say? The final like proofread, I would think of the scene and how I would recap it in like for book 3, and I'd be like, doesn't need to be here. And I cut, like, I remember cutting quite a significant word count from it, because it was just like, and then they stood in the forest and talked about Chaga on a birch tree. And I was like, yeah, I guess I could let that go. I put a lot of research into the foraging, but I'm going to have to let it go. It's a big book.
I love how the recap was like your means of killing your darlings.
That's how you get it.
Really
it was
smart.
hard. Although, actually, by the time I was proofreading, I was ready to kill as many darlings as I needed to get the stupid book out. But yeah, it's a good way to.
And it's still a very long book.
Yeah, it's still huge. I'm really glad that I cut however many chapters that I did. Mostly it was foraging.
Just cut all the foraging.
Just 100 pages of foraging.
I mean, I would be happy. I would be happy to see the foraging, but you know, that's just personal preference.
I think
Krystle, those are just the parts of the book. Those are just the parts of the book where you're like, well, I learned about this, so now you have to.
Well, I was really excited because like the whole pitch of the series is that it's Canadian, like all the world building is Canadian. So it's like, oh, I know some stuff. I have found some of this stuff, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. It was like,
I'm gonna shove this Canadianness down.
Yeah. It was my ADHD.
Aggressively Canadian.
Aggressively Canadian.
Exactly. That's actually a perfect book pitch. That's how I would pitch my book.
Oh my god, this book is aggressively.
It's just aggressively Canadian.
It is aggressively Canadian.
There is some sex. There is some
aggressively
foraging.
Sex.
You know, when I read it, Adrian, I want you to know, when I read it and there is not 100 chapters of sex, I'm going to be very upset.
What about Devin? Listen, what about 100 pages of sex while foraging?
I mean, that
sounds geometrically challenging.
I mean, it's just like it's in Canada, so there's a lot of like pine needles on bare skin, but.
How dare you, actually. Osborne knows how to find good camping places for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You better find a good camping spot. That very literally
was one of the things that didn't make the cut. Like a whole arc was just like, it doesn't fit anymore, so.
Yeah.
Oh, him finding a camping spot, or him finding somewhere to?
No, foraging and extra.
I wanted to forage. I wasn't sure if we're foraging or fornicating. It's fine.
Foraging.
Yes.
Foragicating.
Yes, and
we're scaring away the audience.
Oh my god!
Everybody's like,
what I just stepped into. What I just stepped into.
Listen, Michael knows what I wrote, and he invited me anyway.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. Yeah. Wrapping up, Michael, is there anything that you'd like to say about Crownfall for the people watching, about this book, and about whatever else you have to say as parting words?
Yeah.
Except for foraging and fornicating. We
talk about that.
The TTRPG nobody asked for. Thank you, Joe Byrne, for dropping in here for that.
Somebody asked for that. I think somebody.
I'm sure there would be a market for it.
There's a market.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I just want to say, like, thank you to literally anyone who has participated in any way for creating Crownfall, for doing this book tour, whether it's like through interviews or the cover reveals or just like liking a post or anything like that, because Crownfall has literally changed my life. Like, starting to become an author and just pursuing this dream has genuinely made me a better person. And then there's no way I'm ever turning back. Like, I never want to stop doing this because of what it has done for my life. And I just want to thank everybody who has made this possible, because I didn't do it by myself. A lot of people helped, like everybody here in this room and a lot of people out on the internet. Like, thank you so much. Like, I could not be here without you.
Well, I'm very glad for that, man. I'm very glad that like I've been able to see you on this journey. And yeah, I mean, like we become really good friends just as a result of like you interviewed me for Mushroom Blues. and
Yeah.
then
Oh, is that the
We
origin
just-
story?
yeah.
No,
and then-
no. The origin is you called out for review copies of Mushroom Blues,
Okay.
and I read that, and then reached out to you for
Okay.
author adjacent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really
And
cool.
then that built into just like us chatting every once in a while,
Yeah.
me sharing advice about like self-publishing and all that kind of stuff, then you being like real serious about publishing Crownfall, and then like everything
It's
just
funny
exploded
how
from there.
like
Yeah.
kind of like these things cook for a really long time, but there is kind of a moment where it clicks over in your brain of like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm actually going for this. And then like the ripples from that are always really cool to hear about after the fact.
So just simply put,
I'm
we're
just
very
so
proud.
happy to be
We're-
here.
We're proud of you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. You put out a damn good book, and to everyone watching, if you haven't, go buy a copy of Crownfall. Show it off again, Michael. It's available in
Show the
ebook
hardcover.
and hardcover and paperback. Yeah, show off the whole jacket and the naked
Yeah.
hardcover. All of it.
Jennifer's
Hold on.
it.
It's
She's-
getting naked.
Crystals. Yeah, it's getting naked. It's going foraging.
Oh no.
You know? That-
Oh, you need your jacket for foraging.
I
Oh
will
my
say that might be my favorite thing about indie, by the way.
What's up?
Is
Oh,
that
the
the
naked.
Art
Naked
naked?
hardbacks.
Yeah.
Why is that not a thing? Sorry.
Oh, it's spilling
No.
over. They've
I agree.
noticed that we're
Yeah.
doing it and selling, and it's spilling over. I've noticed it like going through the especially as they were picking up indies who had already done it. Like I know Carissa Broadbent's books, like she had like a really gorgeous naked hardback for the Serpent and the Wings of Night. And then so when she switched over to I think Bramble, she was like, hey guys, you know what sells really well?
Mhm.
Naked hardbacks.
Naked
Being
hardbacks.
able to say naked hardback when pitching your product.
Your romantasy.
is
Oh yeah.
a goal.
It's
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially romantasy.
specifically for
Yeah.
someone like Carissa, yeah.
There's something cathartic about it.
Yeah.
Marketing gold.
Marketing gold. Yeah. Well, we got a lot of love in the chat. Thank you so much to everyone who's been
Yeah.
out here supporting Mike on his special day. And yeah, just appreciative to all of you for, hyping up Crownfall, hyping up this wonderful human being here with us tonight. To all of you for joining us in the live stream, and to Devin, Jennifer, Krystle, and of course Michael for hanging out with me.
And
doing this
you,
last
Adrian.
part. And
Yeah.
Hi.
Thanks, Adrian, whatever your last name is.
Yeah.
Adrian Mushroom.
Adrian Mushroom. There we go. That's
I
it.
bet the M stands for mushroom. That's
Yeah.
yours.
Of course it does. Of course it does. There we go. Devin's just like, oh.
The lore drops are everywhere.
The
tonight.
lore drops. Oh my god. Well, on that note, let's go around and everyone can share their social media where people can find them. Krystle, my dear, go for it.
Oh, that's me. So I'm just Krystle Matar on most platforms, mostly Threads, but also Blue Sky and Instagram. And then I review for Grimdark Magazine. Yeah, that's all I've got really. And then I've already showed off all my books. And please go buy
Go buy Legacy of the
Fill your
Brightwash.
book.
And
please go buy Book of Spores, because the short
Yes.
story in Book of Spores is what got comped to John Steinbeck's work, and I'm still high on that one. So if you want to read about a 14-year-old child gangster robbing a bank, go buy Book of Spores.
Wow.
That's a pitch.
It's a
As
fantastic
you do.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Book of Spores is available on our late backer store. That'll be open until July, so you can go get like a deluxe hardcover, paperback,
Mhm.
ebook, all that fun stuff. Go check it
They're
out.
so
Can't wait for
pretty.
my copy.
They so pretty. Yeah.
They
Devin,
so
what about
pretty.
you?
I am BroMantasy on all of the things. It's Instagram. I still have an X
Excellent
account.
branding.
I think. Thank you. Website, the whole 9 yards. It's a .com too. I got lucky.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's BroMantasy on all the things. I yell about all sorts of books. BroMantasy, anything that's going to make you cry, upset, emotionally devastated, wonder why you read it at the end of it, but also happy you did. I got you.
Brilliant. Thank you. And Jennifer, do you have like any socials, anything you want to share?
I kind of
you-
do.
editing service.
Yeah.
I don't know about editing. So Michael knows I have too many jobs. What I do full time right now is actually technical consulting for small businesses. So that can be anything from helping build you custom software to helping with people learning how to use AI tools to improve their business and stuff like that. That said, I know that there are certain things that AI tools are horrible for, and that is anything involving creation of art or writing. And I am not promoting that in any way. So just to be clear, but I also am have been thinking for a while about kind of trying to launch my own social media stuff to kind of help educate people how to use AI for good, not evil. And in addition, just business tips, tricks, technology and business intersecting. And my handle for those things which there are accounts that exist. They just have very little content right now, but it's Intentional Ventures. If anybody wants to look me up, feel free to reach out if you have a book to pitch that you'd like me to edit after reading Michael's book and you think the editing was good. I don't know if that's something I'll do, but if somebody reached out to me, I would consider it because honestly, it was a lot of fun. And I am fully invested in every venture that I get into. So if I edit your book, I'm not going to be the transactional editor. I would actually
You're gonna hurt our feelings consensually.
Yeah.
I will hurt your feelings if I am your editor.
But also hype the hell out of you when it's deserved.
Yeah. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're damn good editor, Jen. So
thank you.
Hit her up if you wanna get some good editing on your book. Michael, what about you, my friend?
Hey folks, if you haven't noticed, my name is Michael Vadney.
Yeah.
I have a book. On the social medias, I am Michael_Vadney on literally all platforms. I got lucky and got them all under one thing. Thank you, Ann. You can also find me on Author Adjacent, podcast about the journey from writer to professional author. And God, the book is now out. I'm so excited. You can get it on Amazon.
You can
get
it on a Kindle. Yeah.
I know it's on Kindle Unlimited right now for free if you have that access. But it's also available on my website at michaelvadney.com. And again, thank you everybody for being here. This was really fun.
No, we appreciate you, man.
Thank you for having us.
You can find me all across socials at Adrian M. Gibson. You can check out my podcast, SFF Addicts, at SFF Addicts Pod on social media, but also just on YouTube. I mean, if you're here at this channel, you probably already know what it is, but it's also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of that jazz. And then you can also check out my book, Mushroom Blues. That's available in all formats. So you can go order that, paperback, hardcover, ebook, audiobook, and then go pre-order my upcoming short novel, A Murder Most Fungal, which is set in the same world as Mushroom Blues. That's out on June 16th. So go pre-order the ebook or get the hardcover or paperback on June 16th. And once again, thank you all for joining us. It's been absolutely wonderful. Michael, we're proud of you, buddy. Go get Crownfall. Buy the hell out of that book. Support this man and his wife for all the hard work that they put into this novel. Go get it. Links in the description below. Just over down there. And I hope you all have a wonderful night. Take care. Bye.
Bye.